All right, alongside Pierre, LeBrun, and Chris Johnston, TD Garden Arena, Canada, USA. Brad Marchand right in the middle of it. You got to think he's going to find a way to create some kind of a moment, guys. But CJ, pretty zen Brad Marchand today, took to the podium. Pretty reflective, maybe, compared to what we've seen on previous big stages.
Yeah, I mean, that was the word that came to mind for me, was reflective. Talking about early in your career, you feel like you're going to have all these kinds of moments, and all of a sudden you're 36, which Brad Marchand is. He's in a expiring contract year with the Boston Bruins. Doesn't know how many big games he has left in this arena, but he knows he has at least one on Thursday night. And so, those are some key people, I think, for this Canadian team, whether it's him or Crosby, Doughty, some of the older players of this group. And John Cooper mentioned that Brad Marchand's been kind of a galvanizing guy behind the scenes, even if his ice time is not what it would normally be in the NHL.
Well, it could be his last ever game for Team Canada, too, and he's not the only one. And these are things you probably think about as a player. Yeah, the Olympics are around the corner next year, but that doesn't mean that Brad Marchand, at his age, will necessarily have a shot at it. The thing that hit me on this day is that Team Canada looked like they were ready for business. There's 14 Stanley Cup champions on that Team Canada roster. Team USA has 2. That doesn't mean it can't be Team USA's moment on Thursday night. Of course not. But I feel like from Sidney Crosby on down, they have faced big games in their career. They are prepared for them. They have had poise in them. And I felt that. That was a business-like focused practice by Team Canada here at TD Garden.
Pierre, what's the latest on Quinn Hughes and the potential that he would join Team USA in any capacity for this final game?
Yeah, so got word today that Team USA was told that Quinn Hughes would not be flying to Boston to join Team USA. Wasn't medically cleared. We know he was on a non-contact jersey with the Vancouver Canucks at practice. And so that's the word that Team USA got. Of course, even had he come, we know that the NHL again on Wednesday said that Quinn Hughes could not play with Team USA unless it was an injury or illness to another of the 6 defensemen. That's important to note. But in the meantime, we're told that Team USA is thinking of trying to bring in a couple other players because of the bug that's been going around the tournament and their team, just in case someone falls ill on Thursday on Championship Day. We know Brady Tkachuk didn't practice on this day because Mike Sullivan said he was ill. So still some moving parts here for Team USA.
And Team Canada made it very clear, CJ, that whatever decision was made on Quinn Hughes, they were okay with.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's important to note here. There's no opposition put up, and in fact, quite the opposite. My understanding is Hockey Canada sent a note to the league, said, look, however this gets adjudicated, we're fine with it. They were quite comfortable with Quinn Hughes joining Team USA had that happened, or, in this event, it looks like it's going the other way.
So the United States dealing with some injury issues over the last few days and sickness and such. Let's run through the key principles involved in what we saw today. You talked about Brady Tkachuk not being on the ice today. Ace cameraman Peter Bradley did see him wandering around behind the scenes with what he thinks might have been electrolytes. So hydrating is Brady Tkachuk. What about the guys that were on the ice, Pierre?
Well, Matthew Tkachuk was part of practice. Of course, he was one of the first big injuries this week when all things started to go south injury-wise for Team USA. Mike Sullivan basically says everyone that you're worried about is playing except for one. Charlie McAvoy was ruled out earlier. Otherwise, he expects both Tkachuks to be playing, Vincent Trocheck to be playing. Notable, I should say, though, is that Kyle Connor was skating in Brady Tkachuk's spot on that line for Team USA. What does that mean if Brady Tkachuk is playing Thursday night for Kyle Connor?
There's a style of play, CJ, that, I don't know if we were expecting with all these high-octane offensive players. You think maybe blow the doors off at some point offensively, but when you get 2 juggernauts going head-to-head, that's not necessarily the way it goes. There's been a lot of dumping and chasing, and there was in that first Canada game. We expect Canada-US game, and we expect more.
Well, anyone that was old enough to remember the '87 Canada Cup would take a 6-5 final, which all 3 games were in the best of 3 final in that go-around. But if you look at more recent history, a lot of 3-1, 2-1, 3-0 wins when you look at Canada in terms of those final games in those tournaments. And I think if we're being reasonable, that's the most likely outcome in this case. Not a lot of power play time, and you do have those best players in the world dumping it in. And well, yes, you got Connor McDavid trying to get on a forecheck. Crosby created a goal against Finland on Monday off of a forecheck. But, there's not really a lot of that because the defensemen are so good transitioning back out. So I think it'll be another chess match type of game. The stakes are so high. No one's going to be cheating for offense in a game like this one. And so, I won't advise you what to do out there, but if it's 2-1 or 3-1, don't be surprised.
Let's remind viewers of the historical opportunity for Team USA here. They've not won a best-on-best event since the 1996 World Cup. It's been a long time between Olympics and World Cups where Team USA has not come out on top. And you may remember that the last time they beat Canada before this event was at the Vancouver Olympics in round robin. No one remembers that because the ultimate game was a gold medal game where Canada prevailed. Team USA was pretty darn excited Saturday night after beating Team Canada. Matthew Tkachuk called it, next to winning the Stanley Cup, one of the greatest hockey moments of his career. I want to see if Team USA has parked this and they're ready for this game here. Otherwise, we'll just remember the 3 fights in 9 seconds when it comes to Team USA.
Based on Canada's practice this morning, doesn't look like there'll be any lineup changes, though we'll leave room on that fourth line because you never know what can happen. John Cooper, reflecting back on the tournament so far and his team's progress, said it's boiled down to this for him. They played 30 minutes against Sweden. They played 40 minutes against the U.S., 50 good minutes against Finland, and now he's hoping for a full 60 minutes in the final.